ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له شهادة تنجي قائلها من النار وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله وصفيه وخليله المبعوث رحمة للعالمين إمام الأنبياء المتقين سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه ومن سار بسيره وسن بسنته إلى يوم الدين. إخوة في الله، أوصي نفسي وإياكم بتقوى الله، حيث قال الله في محكم تنزيله بعد بالله من الشيطان الرجيم: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. وقال أيضا: يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. وقال أيضا: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله، وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلال، وكل ضلالة في النار. أعاذنا الله جميعا من النار. أما بعد، أيها المؤمنون، فإن الأعمار مضروبة والآجال محددة مكتوبة، وأنت منذ خرجت إلى الدنيا وأجلك ينقص، وكل يوم يقربك إلى قبرك، ولا أحد منا يعلم متى يأتيه الموت وتفارق جسده الروح. وإذا مات العبد وفاضت روحه إلى باريها وانتقل إلى ربه ومولاه، فلن يكون معه بعد موته إلا ما قدمه في حياته الدنيا من الأعمال والأفعال الطيبة. قال صلى الله عليه وسلم: يتبع الميت ثلاثة فيرجع اثنان ويبقى معه واحد، يتبعه أهله وماله وعمله، فيرجع أهله وماله ويبقى عمله. Praise be to the Almighty subhanahu wa ta'ala. I bear testimony that there is none to be worshipped but Allah ta'ala, the creator of this world, the creator of the sun and the moon, and the sustainer of all of us, of all creatures, man and jinn, and all the creatures that we know, the creatures that swim, the creatures that walk, the creatures that crawl on their backs, the creatures that crawl on their stomachs, and all sorts of creatures. I bear testimony that his last messenger, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is his messenger and his noble servant. O you believers, I enjoin you to fear Allah ta'ala. Verily, that's the only thing, that's the only reason why we are brought to this worldly earth. There is no other reason why we are here on this world save for fearing Allah ta'ala. Allah ta'ala didn't create us for any other reason but for solely understanding who He is and finding a way of getting to Him, and what is at the end of the road of finding Allah ta'ala. I enjoin you to do good. What we say at al-Hasana, all of us are wrongdoers in one way or the other. All of us have skeletons in our closets. But what matters most is not the accumulation of the wrong deeds that we have. What matters is how do we recover from what we've done wrong, from where we have faltered, Allah ta'ala. So I enjoin you to do good you need to follow what has gone wrong with something much better. This morning, this evening, or this morning, or this afternoon, I want to bring you good tidings from Allah Ta'ala. The good tidings are Allah Ta'ala brought us in this world for us to spend a given amount of time. Let it be 30 years, 40 years, 50, 60, 70, 100 years. Let it be 100 years. Doesn't matter the length of time that we're going to spend on this worldly earth. What matters most is that at one point we have to go back to our Creator. He gave us the opportunity to live on this world, and we use our lives to gather whatever we can on this earth that we are going to present before Him tomorrow. However, as believers, He gave us yet another gift, that whereas we are away, we can continue adding rewards and gaining from what we left behind in this world. I will paint an example. We have three types of people on this world earth. We have people who are going to live in this world. It's an example of a garden. The master of the garden gives you access to the garden. But at the time of entry, at the point of entry, he grants you a jacket, or he grants you a bag to collect whatever you're going to find in that garden. You can collect as much as you want. But any time the master of the garden is going to call out your name, that Muhammad, you come out, your time is done. That is when we die. What you've gathered in that bag, what you've gathered in that truck, is what is going to be your reward. That is the life that we are living. But then there is another type of people. When they move into this garden, they gather whatever they want, they can gather in their bags. These are the believers. Then on top of that, they go ahead and plant, and they sow seeds of the same plants in that garden. By the time their masters call them out of the garden, they have left something in the garden. Whoever is going to come after them is going to reap from these plants, be it bananas, maybe oranges, maybe a tree of dates. They'll continue reaping, whereas they're out of these gardens. And they are that third type of people. When they move into this garden, they don't bother packing anything in their bags. What do? They decide to sit and eat every other single thing that they come across. They don't mind what is going to happen tomorrow. But the goal was, go to the garden, collect whatever that you can collect. At the point of exit, I'm going to give you everything that you've collected for the time you spent in the garden. We don't want to be among those people who decide to sit on this world thinking that they're going to be here forever. We are here for a purpose, brothers and sisters. Today I bring you glad tidings that all of us are going to leave this world. That is a glad tiding. Because if it wasn't a glad tiding, then people would be so reckless in this world. If people can behave the way they behave, when they know tomorrow they are going to live this worldly life, how about if they are going to be here forever, for thousands of years? So that is a good glad tiding. But what matters most, when we are taken before our Lord, three things follow us. All the people that we take to their graves, we carry three things with them, along with them. Number one, we carry with them, we go with their family members, ahlahu. The family members, the friends, the peers, the workmates, and so on and so forth. All these people are going to follow me when I'm gone. And they are going to follow you as well when you are gone. Wamaluhu, and probably some of their wealth, some bit of their wealth, they can probably use your vehicle to take you to your grave. They can probably get one of your clothes, or maybe your bed sheets, or maybe your hiram, to wrap you in when you are living this worldly life. That is your wealth. They can probably put anything. Maybe they can carry on your own car, or maybe your own ambulance. But the ambulance and the family and friends won't sit at the grave forever. they have to leave the graveyard. And indeed, in our culture, when we see someone loitering around graves, then we suspect there's something wrong about his head. What remains behind? It is what you presented before your Lord. You don't carry your cars to the grave. You don't carry your monies to the grave. The people who take care of the bodies, the dead bodies, take the responsibility of even removing every other single piece of metal that you have. Even if it's a ring, even if it's something inserted in your body. In fact, there is even a ruling that people who have decided to put something luxurious in their bodies, for instance, people who decide to put metallic tooth, they go to a dentist and they put metallic teeth, we remove that part of the item, such that you go as you are created. So we carry nothing with us. But what matters most are the good deeds that you forsaken, the good deeds that you presented before Allah Ta'ala before that time comes. فتخيل يا عباد الله أنك إن مت الآن ما آثارك بعد الموت ما الأعمال المباركة التي يستمر بها أجرك بعد موتك كم مسلما علمت وكم حق هديت كم غرسا غرست كم حديث عن نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم بلغت. The questions are so many. We need to comprehend at the time of our departure from this worldly life. Have I taken enough time to reflect on that moment when I'm leaving? Is it tomorrow? All of us have a given number of days written on our backs. Some of us have 3 days, some have a week, some have a month, some have 365 days, some have so many days written on their backs. But every other single day that we live is a minus to our lives. It's very funny. Some people go to visit the sick thinking that the sick person is about to leave this worldly life, not knowing that in the next 20 minutes or maybe an hour, see, this person, the visit of the sick is going to actually pass away. So, Allah Ta'ala was very just to hide that part of fact. وَلَا تَدْرِي نَفْسٌ مَاذَا تَكْسِبُ غَدًا وَلَا تَدْرِي نَفْسٌ بِأَيِّ أَرْضٍ تَمُوتُ. All of us know when we're going to depart this life, whether it's going to be in a train, whether in a garden, whether on a deathbed, whether in hospital, whether in Dubai, whether in Eritrea, whether in Sudan, all of us don't know. Our role is to seek this worldly life, but within the boundaries of Allah Ta'ala, such that any time that day comes, you are prepared for the journey. So the question is, what have you prepared? What are you carrying with us? How many hadiths have you taught? How many, you have the Quran? Maybe you have 2 surahs. Maybe you have 1 juzu. Maybe you have 3 juzus. How many of the people have you taught around you that are ignorant about these juzus? How many acts of worship have you taught? You have a friend, he doesn't pray. Have you taken effort to teach him how to pray? You have a wife. All of us have wives. Most of us, the big men. Have you taken enough time to sit with your wife to know if she's even able to recite at-tashahhud, the last supplication during prayers? Have you even ever taken enough time? You have trained her on how to drive a good vehicle, how to get certificates in that qualification, which is also something really nice. But are you preparing your wife to meet in the hereafter? The only way you can prepare your wife, your family, your child is here on the world life. If you don't do it here, it's going to be very, very, very hard for you to reunite with your family in the hereafter. My focus today is on that second class of people, the category that I spoke of. The people who move into this garden that I spoke of, they carry all they can carry in their bags. But before they move out of this garden, they take off time to plant to sow seeds. They plant good trees. They build a mosque. They build a classroom. They sponsor an orphan. They contribute to a project, to a Muslim project. Something that's going to remain behind when you are long gone. Look around you, brothers. How many people are missing in your phones? Yesterday you have 200 contacts. Every other single day, last time I was meeting some old gentleman, he told me that half of my phone book is gone. I don't know who to call now. So and so went. So and so went. So and so went. My wife is gone. Second wife is gone. My children are gone. Every other single day. I'm raising phone calls. Be sure that tomorrow someone is going to erase your phone. They are going to call you one time and they can't. What is going to be the message? This phone is not available at the moment. Or maybe some other person is going to take that phone call, not on your behalf, because you will be long gone. I'm preparing you, I'm bringing you glad tidings on how can we reap when we leave this world alive. عباد الله إن من أعظم الأعمار أجرا تلك الأعمال التي يتعدى نفعها إلى الآخرين ويبقى يستمر أثرها وأجرها فإذا مات الإنسان انقطع عنه عمله وسيأتي عليه زمان طويل تحت الثرى وينساه الناس ولا يستطيع أن يزيد في عمله شيئا إلا ما كان قد عمل من الأعمال الصالحة الجارية التي تستمر وتدوم بعد الموت كما تعرفون في حق كلام صلى الله عليه وسلم حيث قال إذا انقطع عمل عن إذا مات ابن آدم انقطع عنه عمله إلا من ثلاث. That is a famous hadith that all of you know. The three things that remained when we are all long gone. One of the wise says, the wise people said that قد مات أقوام وهم في الناس أحياء. So many generations, all people have died, but to the living, they are still useful, they are still resourceful. وقد عاش قوم أو وقد عاش أقوام وهم في الناس أموات. And people have lived this world life, but as long, whereas they are still alive, they can no longer add value to this community, they can even not add value to their own selves. Which of the two classes do you want to belong to? Someone builds a mosque, when he's away, he's going to reap from that mosque every other single good deed that is conducted in that mosque. Someone builds a mosque, someone builds a classroom, someone plants a tree. Just imagine what you're going to reap from a single tree. For a bird to get shelter, for an insect to get shelter, an insect is going to get, you are going to get rewards from that very single insect that lives under that tree. For someone who sits under that shade, for someone who is going to eat from a fruit off that tree, for someone who is going to get medication or herbal medicine from that tree. You can imagine how much benefits someone is going to get by planting a single tree. Can you count the number of mosquitoes, the number of small insects that live under a single tree? So imagine if you had maybe 20 trees, maybe 30 trees, maybe 40 trees, someone who had a forest. The project I'm bringing before you, brothers and sisters, is the project of a cemetery. You are aware that most of the people who live around townships, we are buried in cemeteries because of the long distance that we travel, that we transcend, and because some of us live very far away from this, from the country in which we live. And you are aware that part of Sunnah is not to make some sort of inconvenience to people who are taking care of your bodies. I'm not shunning the idea of being buried at our ancestral homes. I'm talking about people who don't have the means, who don't have those ancestral grounds where they're going to be buried. I'm talking about situations that can't permit you to go to the ancestral grounds. I'm talking about the babies that die in the mother's wombs. Are you going to carry a 2-week-old to Bukoma Simbi? Are you going to carry them to Sudan? Are you going to carry a 1-year-old to Mbale? And you expect people to follow you and grieve with you when you're carrying a 2-year-old to Mbale? Think of an idea when you have a cemetery around us. You are aware that we have the cemeteries, the number of cemeteries that we have in Kampala and around Kampala are full to capacity. We have nowhere to bury. And we want to create convenience to ourselves and the people who are going to bury us. The last cemetery that we had at Inkowe, that was under the initiative of our brother, Allah yarhamuhu, Ibrahim Mwanga Chibirige, the one of the proprietor of Africana Hotel and so many other groups of companies. And our brothers, Uganda Muslim Welfare Association, they're the people behind that project. They bought between themselves 8 acres of land. Within a space of 13 years, that piece of land was gone. Over 22,000 bodies are lying in that place. And those are their permanent homes. They will never leave. Who do you think is reaping from that rent? Supposing they are paying rent, are they going to move? They will never move. And the question is, who is collecting this rent from them? It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That means they can't default. Every other single day they are spending in that grave, the one who contributed to that project is reaping from them. How much time are they going to spend in those permanent houses? 20 years, 100, 1,000, 10,000, who knows? That means whoever contributed to that project is assured before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reap that rent until the final day of judgment. I'm calling upon you, brothers and sisters, to contribute to this project. Be a person who is going to fetch rent forever. How many people have left properties on this world life? Who is collecting rent for them? It's either a wife, it's either a sister, it's either a son, it's either a lawyer somewhere, it's either maybe the government. If you fail to agree on who has the property, then the government takes over. Think of a situation when Allah Ta'ala is the one collecting the rent for you. One, they are not defaulters. Number two, you don't, because supposing you are paying 300,000 per month in this world life, we agree, I pay you 300,000, that is all that I pay. But for Allah Ta'ala, we agree to pay 300,000, for him he multiplies 10 times more, up to a level of 700 times. That means if the house is worth 300,000, that means you are getting 3 million shillings on rent. So the situation is that, brothers and sisters, this is our cause. Allah Ta'ala has given us an opportunity to participate in this project. The reason I'm here, brothers and sisters, you have envelopes, you have flyers talking about this project. We have identified a piece of land of 130 acres of land. The assumption is that every other single piece of land can accommodate up to around 3,000 people. We are looking for permanent places, for permanent addresses for ourselves. And there's a given amount of money that is written on that envelope. I call upon you, brothers and sisters, to contribute towards that cause. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين من كل ذنب فاستغفروه فإنه الغفور الرحيم وهو البر الكريم فالتائب من الذنب كمن لا ذنب له ولا عاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين أكمل السلام وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه ومن سار بسيره وسن بسنته إلى يوم الدين. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. Brothers and sisters, كثيرة أعدادها تلك الأقدام التي مرت في هذه الحياة ثم ارتحلت وانتقلت في الغابرين، فكان من بينها أقدام تلاشت معالمها وذهبت آثارها وانقطع ذكرها، وأخرى ما زالت آثارها الطيبة باقية ومعالمها الحسنة طاهرة. يقول ابن القيم رحمه الله: فيا لها من مرتبة ما أعلاها أن يكون المرء في حياته مشغولا ببعض الأشغاله، وفي قبره قد صار أشلاء ممتزقة وأوصالا متفرقة، وصحف حسناته متزايدة تملى فيها الحسنات كل وقت، وأعمال الخير مهداة إليه من حيث لا يحتسب. تلك الله والمكارم، تلك الله والمكارم. Ibn al-Qayyim tells us in a saying that I've just read out in Arabic, what a rank is the highest one, that a person is busy in his life with some of his work, and in his grave he has the torn pieces, he's torn in pieces, scattered limbs, and his whole body has been shredded. There is a moment when this whole body is shredded, and that shroud, the shroud, what you call a sand in Uganda, is all gone. We get to that moment. Whereas he's in that state of physical appearance, his good deeds keep on increasing, dictated by the Almighty Allah Ta'ala, because of what he left behind. This is Sadaqatul Jariyah, and contributing to this project fits very well in what we classify as Sadaqatul Jariyah. Allah Ta'ala tells us in the Noble Quran, as I conclude this sermon, إنما الحياة الدنيا لعب وله وإن تؤمنوا وتتقوا يؤتكم أجوركم ولا يسألكم أموالكم إن يسألكموها فيحفظكم تبخلوا ويخرج أضغانكم ها أنتم هؤلاء تدعون أن تنفقوا في سبيل الله فمنكم من يبخل ومن يبخل فإنما يبخل عن نفسه والله الغني وأنتم الفقراء وإن تتولوا يستبدل قوما غيركم ثم لا يكونوا أمثالكم. Allah Ta'ala tells us in the Noble Quran that the life of this world is but a play and a pastime. But if you believe in the oneness of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala and fear Allah Ta'ala and avoid evil in all its forms, He'll grant you your wages and will not ask any of your wealth. Allah Ta'ala does not want any of our wealth. And He goes on to say, this is the last 3 ayahs of Surah Muhammad. And He goes on to say, if you are to ask you of it and press you, you'd covetously withhold. I've come with you this project. I've presented you with this project. Shaitan is telling you to hold on to what you have, thinking that what you have belongs to you tomorrow. Tomorrow you have it. After a week you have it. After a month it's going to be all gone. You either leave it or it leaves you. And He'll bring you all the secret ill wills. That is what Shaitan does. Then in the final verse of this surah, he says, here you are, those invited to spend in the cause of Allah. But among you are those who withhold out of greed. And whoever withholds, only withholds for himself. And Allah is the free of need, because Allah Ta'ala does not want anything on this world. He does not need anything that you contribute towards Him. And if you turn away, He will replace you with another people or another group of people that when they ask from them, they will not be like you. So if you hesitate to contribute to such causes, Allah Ta'ala has promised us in this Noble Quran that He's going to bring communities who are going to actually inherit your own wealth, and they're going to use your wealth to do much better. But what is going to be the greatest regret is that we're not going to earn from what they gave away in the sake of Allah Ta'ala, whereas you had the means by then. Baganda bange b'ekitiibwa olunaku olwaleero mu bufunze obw'ekitalo mbaleetedde amawulire amalungi. Njogedde ku bitundu ebisatu eby'abantu. Ekitundu ekisooka ky'eky'abantu abayingira mu nnimiro y'omuntu n'abagamba nga bayingira ku mulyango nti abange ayingira mu nnimiro tayingira nga simuwadde ensawo, naye bw'ayingira n'ensawo ye mu nnimiro mwagenze apaakingemu byonna byasobola, bw'anaaba afuluma nga atuuse ku mulyango byonna byakuŋŋanyiza ngenda kumusasula. Ne mubeeramu abantu abayingira n'ensawo zaabwe ne beetikka ne babeera bawulize eri mukama waabwe, bwe batuuka ku mulyango mukama waabwe n'abawa kyabawadde. Ne wabeerayo omuteeko ogwokubiri ne guyingira mu nnimiro ezo ne gukuŋŋaanya ebintu bingi nnyo mu nsawo zaabwe, mu wiribaalo, mu motoka oba ekirala kyonna kyoyinza okulowooza. Naye badde bafuluma ne bafuna sipeesi mu nnimiro omwo, naye baako kye basimbamu mu nnimiro omwo nnyini omwo. Katukitwale nti muti gwa mmwanyi, kikolo kya mmwanyi, nabo ne basimbamu mmwanyi. Abantu abagenda okujja oluvannyuma lwabwe ne basigala nga banoga ku nnyaanya ezo, ne babeeranga wano newankubadde ettani ze bagenda nazo nga bafuluma mu maaso ga Allah Ta'ala, nga bafuluma ate baafuna abantu abalala ne basombera emmwanyi zaabwe, ne babeeranga bano balinga abakozeseza bano ng'abaki ng'abapakasi baabwe. Ne mubeeramu n'omuteeko ogusembayo gwe guyingira mu nnimiro, batuula butuuzi ne balya. Ebeera nga nnimiro ya bogoya, bagamba biri tunaabirawa luvannyuma ffe katulye tukkute. Be bantu batatu Allahu Tabaraka Ta'ala ng'amanyi bagenda kubeera mu nnimiro butavaamu, ng'era bambi alowooza wanaabeera mu nnimiro bagenda mukoowoola yeekweke. Naye zikusanze yaahi karimu, ffenna tuli bakuva ku nsi kuno, ate omukoowooza agenda kukoowoola mu maaso ga Allah, ffenna teri agenda kusigala. Kuba Allah Ta'ala atusuubiza mu Qur'an ey'ekitiibwa nti ajaali weebezze teyinza kukeera wadde n'eddakiika n'emu. Ffenna tukitwale nti tukutte ensawo ku migongo gyaffe, tuli mu kukuŋŋaanya Sheikh, akaseera konna bagenda tuyita. Naye nsuubidde abantu benzizeemu olwaleero njogera n'abantu beetikka mu nsawo zaabwe bagenda kufuluma nabyo. Wabula kyendeese mubeere mu muteeko gwokubiri, mubeere abantu abaleka emirandira mu nnimiro zino, abagenda okujja min ba'dikum oluvannyuma lwammwe nga bagenda kubeera nga banoga ku bigenda okuva ku miti gino, ate mubeere nga yebasanzeeyo gye mukoze ki, gye mulaze. Kitegeeza nti omuntu asobola okufuluma n'ettani emu ey'emmwanyi ze yeetisse, naye lwakuba yalekamu emiti mingi ne babeera nga bagimusanze ebweru, ttani 10, ttani 20, ttani 30. Ki kye twogerako? Twogera ku mirimu gya sadaka tuljaariya, saddaaka gye tuyita ekulukuta, esigala ng'ekuliikiriza hatta ba'da mautik, oluvannyuma ddala ng'omaze n'okuva kuno ku nsi, etagenda kuvaawo. Buli omu akole kyasobola. Zimba omuzikiti, zimba essomero, sima oluzzi, simba omuti n'emirala mingi nnyo, projects nyingi. Naye ze project gye nzija okubaguza olwaleero ng'ate nayo nnungi ddala, eprojekiti ya limbo. Mbategeezezza nti limbo yaffe ey'obusiraamu ne limbo enzirala ezigifaanana, ey'enkoowe, ey'ekkololo, limbo zonna zajjula. Zijjudde bakwano gwaffe, jjudde bakitaffe, jjudde bamaama baffe, n'ebijja ebyammwe bennyini gye muva nabwe byajjula dda. Omulanga gwe nziza okuba olunaku olwaleero tukontributinge mu kugula limbo yaffe empya. Era projekiti eno eyitibwa Nkoowe 2, nga twagala ffe nnyini tugoberere musajja mukulu Ibrahim Wanga Kibulige ne banne aba Welfare Association abagulayo eka 8, ne butunulire convenience. Genda Nkoowe, bameka beebase omwo, Qur'ani yeebase omwo, irimu yeebase omwo, Sheikh Sekimpi, Sheikh Abdul Wali ne basheekha balala bangi abanene beebase mu limbo eyo. Mulimu abaana bammwe, mulimu bakyala bammwe, mulimu bazzukulu bammwe, ffenna mu kategorizo ez'enjawulo. Naye olwaleero limbo yajjudde. Mulowooza nti okujjula kwa limbo kunaagana Allah Ta'ala otujja ku nsi? Abadan. Kyembaleetedde kwe kubeera nga tuyinvestinga mu limbo eno. Kanzijeyo akantu kamu kokka. Tugambye nti omuntu singa yinvestinga mu limbo eno abeeranga agenda okusolooza renti, kuba ekyamazima kiri nti kabuli zaffe ze nnyumba zaffe ezannamaddala, ze nnyumba zaffe ezaki ezannamaddala mwe tugenda okuwangaalira awaaman adida, emyaka gye tutamanyi na kumanya. Naye omuntu oyo yeebase ku ttaka liwa kontributingako, kitegeeza omufunako empeera. Ekifaananyi ky'ensiize kya muntu alina ennyumba ya renti ng'asolooza. Wallahi aqsum billah, mbalayira Allah kataala, omuntu eyazimbye ennyumba ey'omu ttaka asinga eyazimbye ennyumba ey'okungulu, kuba ennyumba ey'omu ttaka erina asolooza atagenda kuvaawo. Ennyumba ey'okungulu imma gujja kuvaawo ne boolesewo bakole ki, baveewo n'enkulaakulana ejje naye egijjewo. Naye ennyumba ey'omu ttaka omuzikiti guno basobola okugumenya enkya, si kyeŋŋamba nti gujja kumenyiwa, la samaha Allah, naye gusobola okuvaawo. Naye projekiti nnungi, naye limba eyo tekigenda kubeera kyangu kya kuseetula mitwalo na mitwalo gy'abantu egyebase mu ttaka obwo. N'egina bagiseetubwa bwe bagenda okujja sunnayo esigala ekyaliwo, bagenda kuseetula ki? Era ekinene nnyo bajja kutandaaza. Mulowooza kabuli era zinagwayo? Abadan, tekisoboka. N'olwekyo abantu bano ebabaziikibwa nga okontributiza ku projekiti eno, kitegeeza ki? Ogenda basoloozaako renti ebbanga lyonna ila yawmi saa, paka olunaku lw'enkomerero, ng'ate asolooza yaani? Ya Allahu tabaraka taala. N'olwekyo bakanda bange babitiibwa, mbakubiriza, mbasaba, bwe tuba tumaze okusaala ejjuma, asobodde kyonna kyonna kyalina kyakutte, tubawadde ebbaasa n'ebirala okwongera okutegeera projekiti eyo. Olunaku olwaleero tuzze wano, tulina ku masjidi eddako okubeera nga tukontributinga eri projekiti eno. Ala usalli wa sallim ala al-Mustafa al-Habib حيث أمرنا الله بالصلاة عليه قائلا إن الله ملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى سيدنا محمد كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى سيدنا إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد وبارك اللهم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد وارض اللهم عن الخلفاء الراشدين خصوصا منه أبو بكر وعمر وعثمان وعلي وعن أصحابهم أجمعين وعن التابعين وتابع التابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. اللهم أذل الشرك المشركين ودمر أعداءك أعداء الدين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. ربنا اغفر لنا الذين سبقونا بالإيمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا ذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. اللهم حبب الإيمان وزينه في قلوبنا وكره إلينا الكفر والفسوق والعصيان وجعلنا من الراشدين. ربنا اغفر لنا الذين سبقونا بالإيمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا الذين آمنوا ربنا إنك غفور رحيم. اللهم اغفر لنا حينا وميتنا وشاهدنا وغائبنا وذكرنا وأنثانا. اللهم من حييته منا فحي الإسلام ومن توفوته منا فتوفه على الإيمان. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة وقنا عذاب النار. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم وأقم الصلاة إن الصلاة كانت على المؤمنين كتابا موقوتا.